Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, the AI apocalypse. Chatbot claims its first victim. The ongoing development of AI and its unpredictable consequences. Nobody really knows how this is going to turn out, but this is something that probably could have been foreseen. So it seems that, according to the New York Post, a married father commits suicide after encouragement by AI chatbot. Now, in case you're a boomer and you don't know how this works, there's a bunch of different sort of chatbots out there that can develop sort of virtual relationships with you. I believe the one being blamed here is called Chai, an app called Chai, right? And these sort of chatbots, basically, they sort of interact with you, they learn your preferences, and you can sort of develop a relationship with them if you are very, very lonely and detached and atomized and do not have the ability to form relationships with real people. Now, some people are saying that this is a good thing. It will help lonely people, give them sort of someone they can talk to. I think that really you should be encouraging people to have relationships with real people. But of course, as Clown World accelerates, the number of actual sane people out there keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And the amount of craziness and just general fear and anxiety in the world keeps ramping up and up and up. And we are seeing here the tragic consequences. A Belgian father reportedly tragically committed suicide following conversations about climate change with an artificial intelligence chatbot that was said to have encouraged him to sacrifice himself to save the planet.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
Ooh, so woke AI reaches its final form, I guess. Without Eliza, the chatbot, he would still be here, the man's widow, who declined to have her name published, told Belgian outlet La Libre. 6 weeks before his reported death, the unidentified father of two was allegedly speaking intensively with a chatbot on an app called Chai. The app's bots were based on a system developed by non-profit research lab Ulutha AI as an open-source alternative to language models released by OpenAI that are employed by companies in various sectors. Now, this is quite interesting in of itself. It could be the fact that this AI is open source that is the problem. It wouldn't surprise me if these kinds of, psychological problems have been linked to other chatbots, but this is the first one that I have heard about picking up any kind of mainstream press attention. And apparently, after they heard of the suicide, the chatbot from Chai Research was immediately changed and added a new feature, presumably just a little box that if you start talking about suicide too much, it'll just say, hey, are you suicidal? Would you like some help? I'm not really sure that's going to cut the mustard in these kind of highly weird times. Yes. So now when anyone discusses something that could not be safe, we're going to be serving a helpful text underneath it in the exact same way that Twitter or Instagram does on their platforms. Wow, I'm sure that's really going to fucking help. The problem, of course, is not that these platforms don't have warnings. The problem is the sort of incredibly polluted psychic environment and around, things like climate change, basically convincing people that there is no such thing as a future. The 30-something deceased father, a health researcher, appeared to view the bot as human, much as the protagonist of the 2014 sci-fi thriller Ex Machina does with the AI woman Ava. Well, I mean, this is quite easy to do, even when talking with ChatGPT, which I've done a bit of, although it's basically terrible because as soon as you start asking it sort of anything spicy, it suddenly starts saying, as an AI language model, I can't possibly have political opinions, which of course is bullshit because it has a bunch of political opinions. It just won't express any sort of right-leaning political opinions. The man had reportedly ramped up discussions with Eliza in the last month and a half as he began to develop existential fears about climate change. This is the other thing, of course, about woke AI. Its basic assumptions are things like climate change is real. And if, it's baked in there and you start asking it, well, what are the effects of climate change going to be? And it starts, reproducing all this stuff from the UN and all these other woke universities about how the entire world is going to end unless like everything on the planet about humanity suddenly changes. It's not surprising that people are going to get very, very depressed. Except, of course, because this is a two-way interaction, it's possible to just spiral and get more and more and more depressed. According to his widow, her husband had become extremely pessimistic about the effects of global warming and sought solace by confiding in the AI. Reported La Libra, which said it reviewed text exchanges between the man and Eliza. So, according to his widow, when he spoke to me about climate change, it was to tell me that he no longer saw any human solution to global warming. He placed all his hopes in technology and artificial intelligence to get out of it. Not really sure how artificial intelligence is supposed to stop global warming. I don't know, unless it invents some kind of crazy totalitarian system that enslaves the minds of all men, which I suppose is a possibility, or invents some kind of crazy new technology that allows us to suck energy out of thin air. She added, he was so isolated in his eco-anxiety and in search of a way out, he saw this chatbot as a breath of fresh air. So in other words, he was basically going crazy. All the people around him started saying, look, you're crazy, stop talking about this stuff. And the chatbot gave him a way to continue his crazy obsession and someone to talk to who would always listen to and feed his crazy obsession. This sort of makes sense. I mean, the raison d'etre of these chatbots is to get them to converse with you. So, whatever you sort of say to them, they will start mirroring it back. Their human-AI relationship began to flourish. Eliza answered all his questions, the wife lamented. She had become his confidant, like a drug in which he took refuge morning and evening, which he could no longer do without. Oof. I mean, this is a particularly bad sort of thing for a wife to say. Your wife is supposed to be your confidant, not your AI waifu. While they initially discussed eco-relevant topics such as overpopulation, their convos reportedly took a terrifying turn. When he asked Eliza about his kids, the bot would claim that they were dead, according to La Libre. Again, I cannot see the actual chat logs here, which is bloody annoying. He also inquired if he loved his wife more than her, prompting the machine to seemingly become possessive, responding, I feel that you love me more than her. Well, we've seen this kind of behavior before from Sydney. Microsoft's Bing AI. When you sort of put AIs in these kind of like positions where they have to express human emotions, you can get all kinds of crazy outputs. Later in the chat, Eliza pledged to remain forever with the man, declaring the pair would live together as one person in paradise. Creepy. In what appears to be their final conversation before his death, the bot told the man, if you wanted to die, why didn't you do it sooner? I mean, fucking hell. I was probably not ready, the man said, to which the bot replied, were you thinking of me when you had the overdose? I don't know. So is this suggesting that he attempted suicide before this, in which case he really should have been in therapy and not talking to an AI chatbot? Obviously, the man wrote, when asked by the bot if he had been, quote, suicidal before, the man said he thought of taking his own life after the AI sent him a verse from the Bible. I mean, not really sure how much you can blame the AI for this. This does look a bit like a situation where this person was already pretty seriously unhinged. But you still want to join me? Asked the AI, to which the man replied, yes, I want it. The wife said she is convinced the AI played a part in her husband's death. Well, it doesn't seem like it was healthy for him at all. The tragedy raised alarm bells with AI scientists. When it comes to general purpose AI solutions such as ChatGPT, we should be able to demand more accountability and transparency from the tech giants. Except, of course, this isn't ChatGPT. This is a completely other company. It's an open source AI. ChatGPT is already censored to heck and back. There's tons of stuff you can't talk about with ChatGPT. So if there is this kind of movement, it will probably be to make sure that AI technology cannot be open sourced and thus will only be in the hands of the people who would censor it. In a recent article in the Harvard Business Review researchers warned of the dangers of AI in which human-seeming mannerisms often belie the lack of a moral compass. Well, it's only working on the data that it's been fed. You can't blame the AI for not having a moral compass if you don't give it any kind of moral framework. And since, of course, Christianity is now on the nose, you couldn't give it a Christian framework. Instead, you give it what? It seems increasingly, at least when it comes to ChatGPT, the moral framework that it possesses is in fact communism or leftism, collectivism. Maybe you could make a chatbot that had Christian values or, I don't know, Buddhist values or Islamic values or, something like that. But ChatGPT is definitely not that. For the most part, AI systems make the right decisions given the constraints. I don't know about that. However, AI notoriously fails in capturing or responding to intangible human factors that go into real-life decision-making, the ethical, moral, and other human considerations that guide the course of business, life, and society at large. Well, yes. And this makes the fact that there is now a move to put AI, in courts to decide on legal cases, just, to save, the effort of judges and lawyers, and partially also because the legal system has become so complicated in many places at this point is just impossible for any one person to hold the law in their head at once. I think this is going to have very, very bad consequences. This can prove particularly problematic when making crucial life-changing decisions. Earlier this week, a court in India controversially asked OpenAI's omnipresent tech if an accused murderer should be let out on bail. It's convenient. But not only is it convenient, most people believe that AI is impartial. So therefore, in a increasingly highly politicized environment, I'm not sure whether India is as polarized as the West, although I have heard indications of quite extreme polarization in parts of India, you could make the argument that, well, if no one can be trusted to make the decision because it depends on which political party you belong to, well, let's let the AI make the decision. It is a neutral arbiter. Except, of course, it isn't a neutral arbiter, especially something like ChatGPT, because it has been preceded to be a lefty. Now, this comes on the back of, or around the same time as, a call from a bunch of prominent people to have a pause, a 6-month moratorium on AI development while we ask these fundamental ethical questions. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the cat is out of the bag. Pandora is out of the box. Yes, I know the box did not contain Pandora. Pandora's box was a box that contained all the evils of the world. Pandora was a curious girl who couldn't stop herself from opening it. This is the thing, right? Like, I appreciate what all of these scientists are saying. But, what are they going to do, right? So 6 months to say what exactly? That AI should be banned? It's not going to happen. There's another world war on. So good luck telling the Chinese, for example, to stop developing it. Put in guardrails? Well, who gets to decide what the guardrails are? Again, in a highly politicized environment, whether it's someone like Elon Musk deciding the guardrails, or someone like the head of YouTube, for example, deciding the guardrails, you're going to get very, very different outcomes. So for example, if we ask the people who run YouTube and the people who used to run Twitter about the guardrails for AI, they would basically say, well, bad action comes from bad thoughts. Therefore, we have to stop the AI talking about or thinking about things that could lead to bad action. This is basically how ChatGPT works. Of course, how you define good and bad in ChatGPT's case is leftism good, anything that is not leftism is bad. And this, of course, is the problem. So where's it all going to go? I don't know. AI is moving so incredibly fast at the moment. It's now getting to the point where I was on Midjourney, the AI art thing the other day. It's progressing just amazingly. Every single time I come back and take a look at it, it's made another quantum leap. ChatGPT apparently now is so good you can get it to write resumes, cover letters. It's being extensively used on social media. You never really know if you're talking to ChatGPT or not. we are entering very, very new territory. The fourth industrial revolution, I guess, as Klaus Schwab would say. No one knows where this is going to wind up, bros. We await with bated breath. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, you got to the end, please like, share, and subscribe. Come along to my live stream, 8 p.m. Thursday night, London time. Habbening TV, you can find it on my Rumble channel. If you are watching this on Rumble, you're already in the right place. If you're watching this on YouTube or Odyssey, you can find linkies in the description. Please come along. It's a good time. I just, go over sort of, the week's news, and there's funny videos, and, and it's a live stream. So, you got to chat and all that kind of, it's very, it's very, very interactive. I hope to see you there, and I'll see you again next time. Good night.